If being a parent during the pandemic was challenging, imagine being an educator. In March of 2020, 150,000 teachers in this province of Ontario had to re-examine their lesson plans. We spoke to one educator about what it was like to go back online and then in class and then online, then in class, and I've lost track. Check it out.
My name is Jamila Rollins, and I'm a teacher in the East End of Toronto.
So Jamila, as a teacher, the last 2 years have been quite interesting, back and forth. The word is pivot.
Right.
How would you sort of sum up your experience over the last 2 years as a teacher?
Well, as you said, it's definitely been interesting. A lot of changes, a lot of being prepared to shift and pivot. I don't like that word. Being prepared to shift because of all the upheavals that's been happening because of the pandemic and everything. So, interesting is the word I choose to use.
What was a typical day like for you?
Well, a typical day was me getting up very early to make sure I have everything all set up and organized, waiting for students to come on. No one's turning on their camera, so I just have to assume they're there. Being concerned when I don't see some students show up because I'm wondering, is everything okay? Is there a tech issue? Is there something more going on? And because of the not being able to be at school and socialize with their peers, many students don't even want to engage online because it's not natural. It's not the natural way for us to be interacting with each other.
Were there things that you learned about your students or you learned about yourself in terms of the online balance?
Yeah, for sure. I learned how to be a bit more tech savvy, which I wasn't before. So just finding other ways to do the same things that I would do to engage my students if we were in the physical space together, finding a way to do that virtually, which for the most part happened, and we were able to still connect and bond and build community. In that sense, it wasn't the worst, but I know for many it wasn't the best experience at all.
You work with students between the ages of grade 6 and 8.
Yes.
What type of impact do you see sort of the last 2 years having on them? These are some big years. Have you noticed or concerned at sort of what the last 2 years will have on that?
Well, definitely for the grade 8s transitioning to grade 9, like there's a lot of learning that's being missed, foundational pieces that are needed, and already that was an issue for many of our students, especially our marginalized students, for a variety of other reasons within the education system. So it's like putting them even more at a disadvantage now because of these gaps that have been created.
Now, is there anything you're doing as a teacher when you're sort of keeping in mind what shifts can happen from learning loss that you're like, as an educator, I need to fill these gaps in, or I need to put more focus on this stuff because this was missed for those last 2 years?
If there's anything, which is something that would be a part of my practice regardless, is making sure to have those deep relationships and meaningful relationships with the students, because once the relationship is developed, then there's a lot more trust that they'll have and they're willing to work with you because they see that you care.
Follow up to that, do you see us utilizing some of that stuff that we, used in online learning and over the last 2 years? And do you think this is what exactly can we change in education?
Well, that's interesting because I remember when the pandemic started and everyone was talking about we want to return to normalcy, but having conversations with my colleagues and friends about not returning to what was normal, because what was normal wasn't necessarily working for everyone, especially, again, our underserved students. So what that should look like, I'm not entirely sure, but the things that were picked up and noticed that were highlighted because of the pandemic, give more attention to those things like the mental health and well-being of our students, making sure we're building relationships, those foundational pieces in math and literacy that are needed in order for them to be successful as they move forward.
What's the overall sense from some of your colleagues about what this has been?
Many feel like exhausted, overwhelmed, frustrated because of the situations that we're under, the conditions that we're under, and still expected to do certain things and sometimes expected to do more in our roles as well. So there is a frustration, exhaustion, which is understandable.
That chat was part of the thread with Nam Kiwanuka. If you want to see more content like that, make sure to subscribe and check out the videos below. And give us a follow on our Instagram account at TVO The Thread. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.